This is Dr. B Serious, here to inform you that we're offering The Body Never Lies, Class 2, October 26th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This class is going to explore how to use personal kinesiology to help you refine and define your decisions and bring out the best in you. Learn the science of asking and the language of liberation. You see, language can be your liberator or your lockdown. How you ask a question and how you feel and how you vibrate and the level of frequency that you are in or on has a lot to do with your outcomes. So what we're going to do is cut to the chase and give you the cheat codes on how to make the best choice for you. Personal kinesiology is the science of asking and receiving a definite yes or no to help you achieve your goals. It's time. Let's go. I'll see you there.
All right, family. Thank you for your patience. And without further ado, want to welcome back to the platform, the one, the only, Billy Carson. Welcome back, my brother.
What's happening, man?
Hey, man, I heard you was over on your channel, man, going off, Billy.
Yeah, I was snapping tonight, man. Every now and then you got to snap on them, man. You got to let them know what's up, because like I was telling them, when you get to certain topics and depending on, understanding your crowd, who's watching and who's listening. And tonight I was talking about the Electoral College and how it's linked to slavery and how it's built off of slavery and the 3/5 of a human. But you can't, hey, let me tell you a little bit about this, how it worked, and let me break it down and explain. No, you got to be like, hey, man, you got to get this knowledge. Yeah. I'm going to snap on you. I'm going to tell you how dumb we have all been in believing in these poly tricks and what we got to do to get out of the situation. So every now and then you got to go in, you got to give them the energy.
Indeed. Yeah. Well, definitely keep up the good work. Judging by the chat, they definitely enjoyed it, man. They definitely enjoyed it, Billy. Wow. And before we get started, I know you just came back from Egypt. Your melanin is glowing. You're darker than usual. How was your trip, my brother? Let us know how the trip was.
Listen, you can see my skin tone. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was the greatest trip we've had so far. We took 100 people. It was supposed to be 101, but one person couldn't make it. 100 people out to Egypt. We took them on the tour of a lifetime. We visited so many sites in 12 days. It would take an average person a lifetime to do all those sites. They would have to plan for a lifetime. And all of them would be bucket list sites too, so they might not even make it to all of them. Yeah. But we took them on the Nile for 7 days, stopping at amazing sites along the way. I lectured every day, almost every day on the Nile. I lectured probably 5 out of the 7 days on the Nile for an hour each time, sometimes 2 hours. Yeah. And then my peer, Muhammad Ibrahim, the archaeologist and guide that we have there, also lectured. And we gave them the most amazing 10-star party that nobody gets. Inside of Karnak Temple, we went there in the evening and we told everyone to dress up nice. We went there. We had a concert. We had dancers. We had a stage. We had a black tie affair meal. We had security. We had everything inside of the temple, inside of an ancient temple with rows of sphinxes, gigantic obelisks all over the place. They were like, their brains were exploding. They were like, they never even thought in their life that they would experience anything like this. Yeah. And you can't experience like anything like that on any other tour. Why? Because nobody's going to spend the money we spent to do it, because you got to take it out of your profits.
Right.
Yeah.
That man, I will come just for that party. Party in the temple. Oh man, I will come just for that alone. One day I'm gonna make it out there with you, Billy. One day I gotta make it out there with you, my brother.
I'll tell you when. 2027.
2027. It's
going to be an eclipse, a full eclipse only, right over where? Luxor, in Egypt.
Yeah. How long you gonna be out there, man? Because I don't be trying to stay too long out there. How long you gonna be out there for, man?
We always go for 12 days, but you don't have to stay the whole 12 days. You can leave, So we were going to have Sean Kelly come part like half the trip this year, but with his schedule, it just didn't work out. But yeah, you can come hang out. Just make sure you're there on the day that we do the meditation underneath the full eclipse on top of the deck of our brand new boat, our brand new ship, right across the street from Luxor Temple.
Wow.
going to be an amazing trip that year, 2027.
Doing it big in this realm, my brother. Congratulations. We having a good conversation, Billy, about this realm tonight. You know, this is one of them conversations, Billy, where people like, well, how the hell do y'all know? We're talking about life after death. How the hell? It's one of those complicated conversations where you just hoping and you have this innate feeling and you're reading ancient texts and you have certain experiences in your life, but nobody can say exactly for sure. We cross-reference stories, you know. It's just very interesting, this life, this journey that went on, and it's a pleasure just exploring it with you with this topic tonight, my brother. We're talking about life after death, and you know, there's so much written in the ancient texts according to the ancients, and as I said in the previous show, near-death experiences is one of the most popular topics on YouTube right now when it comes to the spiritual community. If you look at the videos, they got millions and millions of views. NDE this, NDE that, NDE this. Now I know you just had a close brush with death also, and I'm glad that you're doing great. So before we get started with the topic, how are you doing, my brother? I want to make sure you're okay. How was your experience with what happened with you?
Yeah, I'm back to about 85% right now, where I was in terms of, like, you know, feeling 100% strong, 100% good. For those who don't know, I had a near-death experience recently. I actually almost died. My body was going into septic shock in the hospital. I had an extremely severe case of pneumonia. This is going back now 5 weeks. So I'm 5 weeks out of recovery. I only have 6 more weeks of recovery to go, but I'm doing phenomenal. But you know, this pneumonia, I didn't think it was pneumonia. Pneumonia never crossed my mind. I thought I had a cold, and I rarely get sick. Matter of fact, I have an award in my other room that I got for coaching for 8 years and never getting sick and never missing a practice, never missing a tournament and a game. And so, you know, getting sick was like, I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna beat this because I have a strong immune system. I hardly ever get sick. And then it just kept going every day after day, and it just kept getting worse. You know, 100-degree fever, 102, 104, 105-degree fever. I'm hiking up mountains I'm on a tour. I'm in Turkey. I'm not even home. I'm on a tour in Turkey with people that have flown in from all over the world, and I have to give them what they paid for. I'm hiking up mountains, Nemrut Mountain in Turkey, with 101-degree fever. And that was really the breaking point for me. The day I hiked up the mountain with the fever is the day that I guess that it dropped my immune system and it really took over. And the next day I woke up, that same night I woke up in cold sweats. The fever jumped up even higher. And then from there, I just went down the tubes and I was going into an extremely septic state. The only thing that saved my life, literally till I can get to a hospital back in America, was my wife, Elizabeth. For some reason, she had some stuff packed that nobody would have thought to even pack. She had a peptide called thymosin alpha-1, which I didn't even know she had this thing, okay? I didn't know what the hell it even did, but it's an immune booster. And we had about maybe 4 or 5 insulin needles. She had used a couple on herself, and because she didn't want to get what I had, and she gave me 1 each day. You put it right underneath your belly button, just inject it right there with an insulin needle. And that kept me going a few more days. And then after that wore off and we couldn't get any more needles, because out in the country in Turkey, not even the hospital had insulin needles, which is the craziest thing. I knew I wasn't going to go to the hospital there for sure. We ended up trying to get back to Istanbul so we can get back to America. But I ended up getting even more sick and I got even worse. And I was getting into, seemed like I was getting ready to have some type of stroke or something. It was getting really weird. But then she pulled out the prednisone. I'm like, you got prednisone? She pulled out the prednisone. They give me prednisone. And she also gives me some sugar water because my body started going into hypoglycemic state. I was going into shock and everything else. She brought me back with the prednisone and the sugar water. And then she had some more stuff. She had just had all these meds, and those meds would allow me to live like one more day. Right. When I got back to America, went to the clinic, my lungs were completely full on one side to the point where you couldn't see anything but black. And on the opposite side, you could see the patchwork. I only had 25% oxygen transport. And when I got to the hospital, my oxygen level was at around 83, which means you can basically almost, organs can shut down. I couldn't stay awake. They admitted me immediately. And they told me, listen, you might have to get your lungs drained. They put me on some antibiotics. They made a customized antibiotic for the type of bacteria that was in my lungs. And fortunately, it started to work, but it took a few days. But in that process is when I literally went from this third dimension state into another state. When I was in so much agony, so much pain, and my body started going into the septic shock point, when I closed my eyes, I would leave the room, the hospital room. My wife was there. She never left the hospital. She never left my side the whole time. She stayed in the hospital. Even though we lived 5 minutes away, she stayed in the hospital the whole time. She camped out. But when I would close my eyes, she didn't exist. The room didn't exist. The walls went away, and I was in this other place. And this other place was so peaceful and so incredible. There was no pain. There was no agony. Now, my eyes were closed here, but in my whatever this state of being was, my eyes were open. And I'm looking around and I could see things, and I was shown things. And it seems as if I was shown things that I was interested in. Like I saw different faces of different types of hominids over millions of years, different types of plant life. I can travel and visit sites. I can go to different jungles, wherever I wanted to go, whatever I wanted to do, it was available to me. I can become, it was like an explorer's dream. And when I would then force my eyes back open, I'd be back in my body, back in severe pain, back in agony, with all the oxygen stuff all over my face, going up into my nose, and the heart monitor all over my chest, and the tree of all of these bags of solutions and whatever coming into my veins. And I'd be in complete pure agony. And then I say, man, is that real? So I'd close my eyes again, and I'd reappear back in that place again. And it got to the point where about a fourth or fifth time doing this, it wasn't as if they spoke this to me. And I say they because it was like this echo of voices, but the voices were like saying this, like this hymn or something. It wasn't like words like we're talking right now. But the understanding that I got from it was, you can stay here and you can be here and you can do whatever you want, or you can go back. But if you go back, it's going to be very hard. And I really didn't even think that long. All I could remember was my wife, my kids, everything I have going on. She would be, tore up if I left her. Now, we just got married. It ain't even been a year yet. So I said, no, I'm going back. And that's when I forced my eyes open for the last time. And when I said I'm going back and I forced my eyes open, I was back in my state of being, my body, and back in agony and everything. I looked over at her, and then I tried to close my eyes again to see if I would go back. Never got back again. Never got back. The next 2 days in the hospital, never got back. I would close my eyes to be just closing your eyes, just black. But never got back to that place, whatever that was, never got back again.
You made that decision.
Yeah.
You made that decision.
Yeah.
My mother, we're talking about life and death, and my mother, she passed away when I was 25, and she was in the hospital. She suffered from kidney failure, and she was in the hospital, and she had a near-death experience also. And she told me the story about one night when I was there. I stayed the night, and my father, and I've been telling you the story. My father, he got killed 2 weeks before I was born, so I never even got a chance to meet him. But she was in the hospital suffering immensely, and she said she almost went to the other side, and she seen my father, and he told her, like, yo, you don't have to suffer no more. You could come to this realm. And she was like, hell no, I ain't leaving my children. I ain't ready to go yet. And she loved my father a great deal. Talked about him to the day she left this world. Never got with another man or anything, but she just wasn't ready to leave this realm.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting how, our experience and us knowing the suffering, or us knowing what this realm is about, and we could be shown heaven in another realm, and we'll still choose this realm.
Yeah.
And it makes me think about, did our souls get trapped down here initially, or was it our decision to come down here? Because the thing is, when we don't have a good experience down here, everybody wants to say, oh, this is incarceration. I was forced to be. I didn't want to come down here. But it seems like a lot of people I know that got the near-death experiences, they want to come back here to finish off what they felt they did not finish off. So this is a very interesting place, regardless of the suffering, Billy, regardless of the pain or the agony. There's something that our souls yearn for and love about this realm. And it's very interesting, man. Very interesting.
That's well said. There's no doubt about that. as I might have to clear my voice a few times because of the pneumonia. But the amazing thing about this realm is that I really do believe that we chose to be here. After this experience, to me, it kind of reinforced it. My wife even said to me, you chose this path, and it's a path where you have to understand this realm is so incredible when you really analyze it and understand it, even through all the trials and tribulations. It's so powerful and so amazing that even the angels wanted to stay here. Okay. Angels wanted to hang out here and stay. They didn't want to go back. Wow. Now God itself, and I don't say him or he because I don't believe God has any kind of gender, but God itself, the creator of the universe and the universes, is experiencing life subjectively through each and every one of us to be in this realm, to figure out what is it like to experience life as Billy Carson? What is it like to experience life as Richard Merritt? What is it like to experience life as King Simon? And so God is actually living through us and experiencing through us, through our sensory perception system. We're transmitting all this data through consciousness back to source so that it can figure out what it's like to live at every level in the third dimension, even as an atom inside of a rock. And I think that this realm is just so incredible with I guess it's the allure of it all and the capabilities and the possibilities that exist here, and the ability for us when we get to a higher level of consciousness to manipulate this realm, to tap into our God power mindset and to be able to alter and change our reality and collapse new realities for ourselves. Yeah. And I think, that's why it's like everyone wants to be here. Everyone, everything. I think the aliens come to hang out here. Everybody wants to be here.
So Billy, so what I notice about being involved in the spiritual community, new age, whatever you want to call it, conscious community, there's many different names we use. A lot of people that get into this information, I don't want to say a lot, but a good amount, they don't really like this realm. And the reason why they get into the spiritual information is because they want to know that there's something greater than this realm. They want to know that there's something better. They go through a lot of suffering. They're curious about why they're going through what they're going through. But I know one thing I notice is that there's a thin line. And a lot of them will tell you, I hate this realm. This realm is prison. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. A lot of them will flat out tell you that. I hate this realm. This is prison. I can't wait to get the hell out of here. But what I do know, Billy, is that there's a thin line between love and hate. And sometimes the things that we love and the things that we hate, we attract at the same rate. I remember there was a time in my life where I just had a disdain for police officers because of certain experiences I had with police officers. And what I noticed is that I kept attracting them to me. And I was like, I got to figure out a way, even though I don't like what's going on and what they're doing in my community, I have to figure out a way how to not hate them because I keep attracting them. Right. So what I want to ask you, Billy, is that getting involved in the spiritual community, saying that this is a prison for the soul, hating this realm, wanting to get the hell out of here because we don't like it. Is that causing us, Billy, because hate is magnetic and it causes you to attract the very thing you hate? Does that cause that person to get reincarnated here extremely fast because they have a great hatred for the place? So they ass come right back here to the same place that they hit at an alarming rate.
I really truly believe that they're creating a certain level of karma. So they're creating this karma where they are coming back, and also that they are not enjoying their time here, because the more you use words like hate, for example, we know that hate is a low frequency word, and the energy behind hate, the conscious attributed energy into that word is also a low frequency. So when you're using the word hate like that, especially about the realm that you're actually inhabiting and living in, what you're doing is you're tapping into the law of attraction. Now, you see, the law of attraction works for high frequency, but it also works for low frequency. So the more you use the words like hate and I despise and I can't stand, those are the mirror frequencies going out on a low vibration, and the universe goes, oh, that's what they like, send it on back like a boomerang. And then you find that person has a problem for every solution. They begin to have more problems than they can even handle. And why? It's because they got into this very negative, dark cycle of hate, despise, anger, frustration, and they keep creating their reality. It's like stirring a pot. They're making themselves a soup of low frequency. And when they taste it, for some reason, they like it and they keep going back for more. what you have to do is understand you have to flip that frequency. You have to utilize a certain level of psychotherapy on your own self, like you did, Brother Rich, with the whole cop thing. Mm-hmm. And have to realize that you're attracting and bringing that in like a magnet. Mm-hmm. So what do you do? What's the flip side of this? This realm is difficult, can be very brutal, has been brutal. But let me analyze a few things. What is my mission here? Since I'm a light worker, what is my mission?
Right.
Well, my mission is to learn how to bring heaven to earth. What if that's the grand experiment? What if I can collaborate with people instead of competing with people? What if I can use collaboration over competition? What if I can work together and create a community of people that together we ourselves can have a direct positive effect on the environment and on the world versus a negative effect? How can we collaborate together and all bring a piece of the puzzle together to begin to provide solutions to problems instead of crying like a baby about the problems and how bad they are, but talk about the problems because they have to be addressed, but then bring on the solutions. If we can't create the solution, we can become a part of the solution by collaboration. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, we convert heaven to earth because I think that's the ultimate goal.
Right, indeed. So, Billy, so there were experiments done, I forgot the individual name, where they say, and I don't know if you heard of it, maybe you haven't, maybe you have, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but from what I've read, there's experiments that have been done where they have weighed people at the time of death.
Oh, yeah.
And when they weighed individuals, they weighed less than what they weighed before they passed away. They also did it to animals. Now, the animals didn't lose weight as much as humans, but they did lose weight as well. So let's talk about what the hell weight, your soul has a weight to it?
Yeah.
Like, like gold or something. Talk to me about why are individuals losing weight? What's leaving their body and why does it have a weight? I thought this thing I didn't know empty space had a weight to it, Billy. You know what I'm saying? So talk to me about these experiments and what's your thoughts on them?
No, it's crazy. The experiments are real, by the way. They're not fake. They're real experiments.
All right.
I forget how many grams, 15 to 20 grams or something like that of weight disappears from the body. What is this weight? What are these grams that have just vanished out of the body? Measurable weight. It's the, supposedly, I guess, it's the spirit or the soul leaving the body. I think if you really analyze the human being, the body itself as being an avatar, right? So this is an avatar. And the avatar, just like in the movie, it cannot be animated without a soul or a spirit. So now what happens is your spirit, your soul, whichever you want to call it, is coming down into this dimension. It's coming from a higher dimension. It's coming through a multiple dimension system. As it enters into the third dimension, it's actually entering into this avatar body like a stream, like streaming TV. It's a stream. Your consciousness is a stream. Your brain is not creating consciousness. Let me say that again. Your brain does not create consciousness. It downloads a stream of consciousness. It's coming into the body in an angle, the angels. It's inhabiting the body and it's allowing the body to be animated. Without that, it will not be animated. So that is.
I'm sorry, Billy. Is it a 90-degree angle it comes down here? I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry. It comes into, yeah, exactly. You're right. It comes in on a 90-degree angle. Why 90 degrees, you might say? Why? Well, we know in quantum physics that all dimensions are stacked directly on top of each other. Directly up, right on top of us are up to 11 dimensions. It could be even more, but quantum physicists know through the mathematics that it has to be at least 11 or the universe would collapse on itself. And each dimension is compactified. And yes, compactified is a real word looking up in the dictionary. And they're compactified. And the only way to get to every new dimension or higher dimension is through 90-degree angles. Okay. And so this spirit consciousness is coming in on an angle, like I said, the angel, which is inhabiting this avatar body and giving you the ability to experience life in the third dimension, all the while through that conscious stream, transmitting information back and forth to the source. So you yourself are actually part of a super godly sensory perception system. And what do I mean by that?
Right.
We know that the human brain is encased in darkness. The human brain doesn't know what's going on the outside, but it has friends. Sight, taste, smell, touch, hearing, right? It has sensory perception system. and it collects data. So you tell your friends to go out and collect some information. They touch, they smell, they hear, they see, right? They taste, they send the data back to the brain. Now, the friends themselves don't really fully understand the data. They only know how to transmit it back to the brain. The brain sorts it all out, projects a hologram, and we navigate this hologram based on sensory perception data. That's how we navigate through this matrix. Now, on the grander scale, as above, so below, on the God level, right? On the creator level, the universe is a mind and is conscious. And us as people throughout the known universe, all living things throughout the known universe are what? We are the sensory perception system for the universal mind. And we collect data. How do we collect data? By living our lives and transmitting it back to the source. And then the source is taking in all this information, and now it understands what it's like to live at every specific level within the third dimension. It's the same thing our brains are doing, but on a more grand scale. This is how God is omnipotent and omniscient, how God is everywhere all at once. It's because God is inhabiting every single atom, every piece of dark matter, everything that exists in a known universe is transmitting information back to the source.
So let me show you a couple of pictures, Billy, being that you said that the that consciousness travels at 90 degree angles to through dimensions. So right here I have a picture of the formation. I guess this would be, what you call this, the formation of galaxies?
Yeah.
All right, so we have this picture of the formation of galaxies right here, and something that looks similar to that but had 90 degree angles on it is a very ancient symbol. I think this was in Tibet. I'm not sure. This is what we know as the swastika.
Right.
And it was originally the symbol of peace, and I forget what other name, but it got the meaning got diluted and changed, and whatever, because of Hitler. I want to ask you, Billy, these angles that we see on this symbol, would you call that 90 degree angles?
Yeah, those are 90 degree angles. And so these symbols, they convey entire concepts and ideas, just like the symbol in the middle, right? The symbol for Om. It's not a word, it's not a letter, it's not a word, it's a concept, it's an idea, it's a primordial understanding. And so are the symbols on the outer edges with the 90 degree angles. They're conveying a huge message talking about dimensionality, right?
I was going to ask you, is this the symbol for dimensional travel? Because it's 90 degree angles, and because it looks similar to the formation of galaxies. So would this be an appropriate symbol to represent dimensional travel with any type of entity?
You hit it on the head. You took the words out of my mouth. That's what I'm getting to. So we're talking about dimensionality. We're talking about the ability to travel multiple dimensions, as Thoth talks about in the Emerald Tablets. But it's also talking about the accretion disk that's created. See the style and the shape. It shows the accretion, and an accretion disk is what's formed always in space, which is the disk that looks like, of course, our Milky Way galaxy, and almost all galaxies. When you turn the water and plug your drain in and pull the plug out, you get an accretion disk. You get this swirl, right? You get the Coriolis effect, but it still creates, everything is creating this swirl. So it's talking about the swirl. The natural flow of energy in the universe is not a straight line. It's talking about the 90 degree angles to get to higher dimensions and interdimensional travel. And it's talking about the access to the God power in the middle with the primordial Om, which is a frequency that God exists at. So God is a frequency, and it's our job to tune in. This is what's being conveyed here in this message.
Oh, yeah. Now, pardon me. Are we doing ourselves a favor, Billy? Disfavor by, I talked to you. I just did a show with Robert E. Edward Grant a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about sacred geometry. Are we doing ourselves a disfavor by not tapping into this symbol because of this maniac called Hitler that used it? So we just threw the baby out with the bathwater. Should this be something that we utilize in meditation because of its sacred geometry? Yeah,
well, you hit it on the head again. I mean, we literally threw it out. I mean, you can't even, it's hard to post that thing anywhere because
let me
take it down. That's crazy.
Let me take it off the screen, matter of fact. Let me take it off the screen, matter of fact.
The AIs are, they're looking all the time. They don't understand the concepts that we're talking about. We're talking in higher concepts than even AI can understand at this point. And so, but the fact is, because of what he did, he demonized the symbol, where it became a symbol of hatred, a symbol of dominance and superiority, versus a symbol of peace, transcendence, multidimensionality, and understanding the natural flow of energy in the universe. So yeah, and this happens to a lot of things. You have Isis, right? The goddess Isis from ancient Kemet.
Yeah.
Right. One of the original bringers of life. She gave birth to Adamu, which means first man. There's a cylinder scroll of her in the British Museum holding up the baby. My hands have created it, the Adamu. But then in modern times, we have ISIS, which is coming out of the Middle East, and they're terrorists. So now you're afraid to use the word ISIS. I mean, so it just happens, and they know what they're doing. They take powerful words, powerful symbols, and they demonize them, so we can take them out of our idiom and from our understanding and erase them, so that the next generation, 2 generations later, all they know is ISIS. You go to some kid right now, ISIS is a terrorist group. They don't know nothing about ISIS from Kemet.
Yeah.
So now it's been erased from the memory, and all they have now is the dark imprint, not the light imprint.
Another question about reincarnation, Billy. We see in this realm the birth rate has slowed down tremendously from what our grandparents, some of our great grandparents had 9, 10 children, 14, 13 children. I want to ask you, does the reincarnation cycle, is there any text that talks about how it slows down during certain cycles? Like maybe the age of Aquarius, the reincarnation cycle isn't as heavy or as huge as the age of Pisces. So does the age we're in have a different effect on the reincarnation cycle, the souls coming into this realm?
Actually, it does. You're talking about the Yuga cycles, right? And so right now we're in the Tetra Yuga, in my personal opinion. The Tetra Yuga is on if you have the circle, we're on the bottom left side of the circle, heading back up towards another golden age. We're at the very, very, very beginning, at the cusp of a new silver age, if you want to bring it into the modern terminology. Now, the reason why the reincarnation cycle becomes slower and less individuals begin to reincarnate is because as we get closer to the golden age, lifespans are extended, lifespans are lengthened.
Oh,
you see?
Okay, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you have people living for 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 years, we know people used to live even longer than that in the ancient tablets, because you have the Sumerian Kings list where people live for who knows, because they ruled for 28,000 years and ruled for 36,000 years. Imagine the lifespan. All of a sudden, during that time frame, during that age, lifespans could have been significantly, reincarnation could have been significantly reduced, because why? People are living longer.
Right. No, definitely. So, all right. So, all right, let me ask you this then. So I've heard you talk before about Tahuti possibly being Jesus, who we call Jesus in modern times. Yeah. And we know that some of the gods that we see in the Bible, they have Kemetic origins. There's a god named Anubis that is the god of the afterlife. Yeah. In Christianity, who would Anubis be? If Anubis is the god of the afterlife, who's that in Christianity, so we could become more familiar with this deity called Anubis?
Right. Well, Anubis, I haven't seen any direct connection to anyone in Christianity, and per se. I mean, if you want to really analyze Christianity, it's at its deepest root is talking about reincarnation. This is what a lot of Christians don't want to face. The Bible says, and if anybody's going to be Anubis, it's going to be God itself in the Bible. And I would say in the Bible, God himself, because the Bible is talking about a guy that masqueraded as a god, not the real creator of the universe. I believe there's a creator of the universe, but the one in that book, I don't believe is it. So Anubis would have to probably be the god of the Bible, probably. But in the Bible, it says, you will not be spirits without bodies. Say that again. The Bible says when you die, you're going to get a new body and a new name, and you will not be a spirit without a body. You're talking about getting a brand new body and a brand new name. You're talking about being reincarnated. In other words, nobody's going to die from this third dimension and be whisked away into this magical heaven and live as some being of light with no avatar body. You're going to get a new body and you're going to get a new name. That's what they're saying there. And so, and that's, and if anybody is going to be Anubis in that realm, it's probably going to be God itself, because they're creating this reality of how heaven works in this book, but in true reality, I think it's totally different. I really believe that even the Egyptians and the Kemetic people, I believe that they even got a little bit duped later on. The pre-dynastic era, the Kemetic people, they got the real information, but by the time they got to the dynastic era, they inherited a lot of information that was already there. And Egypt got overthrown 7 times. So all these different groups and races came to rule over Egypt, and all the knowledge got lost. And when I say that, I feel that they got kind of duped. Let me explain myself. If you look at the influence of the Anuna in the ancient tablets, or the Anunnaki, which is, they have 2 different names. They have many more names than that. The Kemetic people call them the Netiru, or Netters, okay? And they're on the fronts of the temples that I take people to. We're talking about these ancient gods of old. And according to the ancient people of Kemet in Egypt, not Billy Carson, these gods came from heaven to earth and turned mud into a kingdom at the time of Zep Tepi. That matches up with what Thoth talks about in the Emerald Tablets, where he said he went to the land of Kem with his crew to help rebuild a high-level civilization in the land of Kem. He didn't say to start a new civilization. He said, we have come to rebuild a high-level civilization, meaning it was already high-level at one point before. What caused the collapse? It was a flood. They say in the ancient text that the flood had swept over the land, and the fountains of water were coming up and burying everything in mud. And Thoth says that he sees the temples rising up out of the mud, and his father tells him to get into the ship of the master and follow the plan that ye know of. And the plan was to go to the land of Kem. So he goes to the land of Kem, and he begins to help rebuild civilization there. So it was a high-level civilization. Now, in terms of the mummification, the part where I think there's a misunderstanding, if you've ever looked at any sci-fi movie for people going into deep space travel, they get into these containers that give them this extended life, right? It puts them into a hibernation state.
Right.
And they're in the hibernation state. Inside of these hibernation units, they're traveling in deep space because space is vast. And it could take you 10 years to get somewhere. You don't want to age 10 years. And you don't want to go crazy flying on a ship for 10 years. So to put you in hibernation, that way you don't have to eat. You don't use a lot of resources. Your heart rate is slowed down. You don't age as much. And when you wake up, it's time to get into an orbit and then land on the planet that you've arrived at. Now, I believe, my personal opinion, now, Rich, this is my opinion, that these beings who interacted, the Netiru, or the Netters that interacted with the people of the land of Kemet, taught them the mummification process, not so that they can hope they go on the solar boat and go into another dimension to go into this afterlife. Because why? Let me tell you why. I take people every year to the Valley of the Kings. This is a vast place where the tombs were hidden. And the only way you can find them is to dig. Nobody knows where each tomb is at, and they're still finding tombs to this very day. When you get into these tombs, you see the most elaborate, incredible underground structures. And what else do you find? All the riches of that particular kingdom there. You find all their concubines, their wives, the cats are mummified. Why in the world would I, be an intelligent man, be a king, a ruler of an entire land, and then believe that I can take all my stuff into this hole in the ground and hide it from the world so nobody can steal it? And then I'm going to go into this solar boat by myself into the afterlife. All my riches are going to stay here. All my women and everything else, my cats are going to stay here. No. I believe that they were told or taught how to mummify their bodies to preserve their DNA.
Woo. Come on.
Time in the future,
it
would be reanimated. It would be reincarnated into a brand new avatar body. And their consciousness will be transferred into that new body, like Thoth talks about in the Emerald Tablets. And they will rise again with their riches and their women and their concubines and their cats and everything else to rule again as a king. And I think that the information or the knowledge of that somehow got twisted or got lost over time, and it became this mummification process that we're going to go into this afterlife, but not the fact that they were going to come back and rule in this life with that money and with those riches and everything else that they had left behind. And so that's where I think, and this is my own hypothesis based on observation, based on being there in person, and based on using basic logic. I really think that the goal was to was to reincarnate. Like Thoth says in the Emerald Tablets, he says he learned how to incarnate at will. So he's talking about controlling incarnations, not waiting for your spirit to be taken away and then incarnate. And I think that was the ultimate goal.
Just made me think of something, Billy. All right. So this is getting good. This is getting real good. Shout out to everybody. We got about 2,500 people in the chat. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the like button and share this show with your friends and family. All right, Billy. So we're talking about reincarnating, leaving this realm. And you're mentioning sci-fi, and the things you're talking about sounds like it's straight out of a movie. Now, what I want to talk to you about right now, Billy, is the idea that at a time in history, and I want to know if this is in any text or anything like that, that we did not have parents. Now, parents, I love my mom. I love my mom in her life. One of the greatest people in the universe to me. But parents can be one of the biggest people to program you against who you are, because they're following the collective consciousness, most of them. So you're coming into this room, you're this great God, and they're telling you all types of weird stuff. You grow up, you confused, you got a complex, you lost, and all this and that. Was there a time, Billy, where we did not have parents? Maybe we was born out of a pod or something like that, and our consciousness was way different from what it was now, because that generation did not have to go through the programming and the brainwashing of their parents. They came straight out of pod. They had the shit downloaded to them. Like, is there any evidence of a civilization like that that didn't have to go through the parent era like we had to go through? And shout out to all the parents.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
There's no direct evidence that there was an era that existed like that, but I'll tell you because what's going on now, because the past is prologue. In other words, what's happened in the past is going to happen in the future. And whatever we do now, even if we didn't see it in the past, is probably something that's already happened. Okay. And what's going on right now? Right now, in laboratory settings, peer-reviewed science, and anyone can look this up. I can take a skin cell from you, one skin cell from you. I can put it into a culture in a laboratory setting and turn that skin cell into a stem cell. Then I can culture that and turn that stem cell into a group of stem cells. Then I can take that group of stem cells and I can put it into an artificial womb, and I can actually grow a synthetic embryo. Look that up, synthetic embryo. They've been successfully doing this all around the world in laboratories. They claim that they're killing this synthetic embryo when it gets to a certain age.
Right.
But who's really overseeing all these synthetic embryos? I doubt that they're all being killed. Now, they can grow that synthetic embryo to any age that you would like, specify. And then, because of the Avatar project at DARPA and because of the 2045 project coming out of Ray Kurzweil in Russia, they've developed the ability to transfer consciousness into another body. They've been working on this for a long time.
Right.
And where did they get this information, Brother Rich? The Emerald Tablets. The Emerald Tablets talked about this 36,000 years ago. Thoth said he goes down to the halls of Amenti, where I took people to the halls of Amenti just a few weeks ago in ancient Kemet, now known as Egypt. I took them underground to a place where they have the rejuvenation chambers, where the bodies would be inside of them, and they would transfer their mind from one body to another so that they can, according to them, walk amongst men, but unlike a man. So that's ancient knowledge that we're now trying to duplicate today. So you say that we have this situation or this time frame where there weren't parents. If you look up synthetic embryos and the synthetic and the artificial womb laboratories, they're talking about a future where literally thousands of infants will be born from artificial wombs. So there could be a time period coming in the future where this is a reality.
Wow. Yeah, it gets so interesting when you go that route, Billy. And I thought of that question. I said, Billy would be the perfect person to ask this question, man. Because you talking all this sci-fi stuff, and I'm like, I gotta ask this right now. Okay, so Billy, so let me ask you this. Well, let me ask you this before I ask that question. Are you familiar? You did a show. Matter of fact, I want to give a rest in peace to, there's a brother named Brother Panic. You actually was on a show with him and Dr. Phil Valentine one time.
Yeah. What happened?
Yeah, when I was promoting my book, he passed away.
Oh
Yeah, he
man,
passed
really?
away last year. So rest in peace
Oh
to
wow.
Brother Panic. And he brought some information, some awesome information to the community that was dealing with the coffin text. And I don't know if you're familiar with the coffin text. There's a white lady, she got an amazing book. Judy, I think her name is Judy K. King. And y'all could correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. But I think it's Judy K. King, and she had a book called the Isis Thesis. And the coffin texts were basically instructions that were left in the coffins of these pharaohs about how to die and where to go when you die. Avoid the light, go here, go toward the northern lights. Also, it was like some deep instructions when you die. Are you familiar with that? Have you ever read into that?
They're in the Emerald Tablets.
What's your thoughts about the coffin text and the correct day, the correct way for a human to die?
Well, this information is ancient, and it talks about understanding that once you die, you're going to get to these gates. And so where the gates of heaven, these white pearly gates that everybody's been talking about since we were, for generations, forget us when we were kids, generations, have been talking about these gates of heaven where they imagine these white pearly gates, and you get inside these pearly gates and you get to see God and Jesus and everybody, and your people are up there. Not exactly the way these ancients talk about it. The gates that they were talking about, Thoth calls it the gate of Arulu. He's talking about a specific way to get there through dimensions, how to achieve this, how to get through this gate. It's like a portal to another place, right? To get to this this Shambhala type of place, where he talks about the codes and the words you even have to utter to create these cymatic frequencies, so that the guard would even let you through the gate. This is like crazy stuff. It's like real sci-fi in these ancient tablets and texts. And the coffin text basically the same thing. Specific directions on how to navigate through space-time, how to access higher dimensions, and how to get to the other side. And so it seems as if the coffin text and the emerald tablets are both aligning on that same thing. And Thoth even gives you the exact frequencies you need to utter in order to be able to pass through the gates of Arulu.
Oh man. Yeah, amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. Yeah, I gotta. Are you familiar with the book Isis Thesis? Have you looked at it yet?
No, I'm gonna buy it tonight.
Yeah. She wrote a book, Isis Thesis and Balls of Fire, and I've heard those are two amazing books, and they deal with the afterlife, and she compares it to what's going on in the body. So she compares, like she talks about the microbiome and the cosmos, and you just got to read it. It's a whole cellular process with the DNA coming online when you die. Yeah, I see. Yeah.
No, I didn't buy it. It's already in my list. It's already my paid. This is my paid list on Amazon. It's already in there.
It's already there.
It says buy it again. I got it October 29th, 2020. I think I bought it from my wife because of the microbiome information.
Right. Yeah.
She asked me to buy this book.
Yeah.
So I have this book right now in my house.
You see?
Yeah.
Billy, that's the spirit talking to you, Billy. That's the spirit talking to you, Billy. See, we got the Holy Ghost up here tonight, Billy. We got the Holy Ghost up here tonight.
I got to go to my wife and get that book from her so I could check it out.
Oh yeah, no, it's awesome. It was a hard read for me when I first breezed through it. I didn't read it thoroughly, but now that I got more information, I got to revisit it. But it's amazing from what I've read so far and from what I heard about it. Let me ask you this, Billy, because I brought up the question about parents to you and the possibility of us being born without parents, and was there a civilization like that? One thing I noticed, and one of the things that make me so well-rounded, Billy, in terms of question asking and interviewing, I do not discriminate with the information that I come across. So some people may see me and I'm melanated, and they may think I just read or watch melanated speakers, but I watch everybody, Billy. One of my dream interviews. It's funny. It's a weird one of my dream interviews. Two of the people that I would love to interview, they like occupy different extremes. One is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, then the other one is Esther Hicks. So people say, how is Esther Hicks related to Minister Louis Farrakhan? But that's my personality. You know what I'm saying? That's just my personality.
Well, so that's what makes you great. That's what makes you great.
Indeed. Saying that to say, what I noticed with studying spiritual information from, you could say, the white community, the black community, different communities, I noticed that when we study this life and death information, spiritual information. The Black community, I noticed, they often have this ancestral veneration at the top of the list when it comes to their studies and what they found out in ancient Kemet. And when I look at the videos from other communities, they're not into the ancestor worship or veneration as much. Black people, the ancestors, pray to your ancestors. The other communities just like, your higher self, God, the Palladians, or the entity or whatever. Why do you think, with the same information that's available from ancient Kemet, Sumeria, all these ancient cultures, and a lot of us are studying a lot of similar ancient texts, why are Black people into ancestral veneration more than other groups?
Well, it goes back to the fact that we have a direct connection to those ancestors at the deepest level through the RNA and the DNA. And so the epigenetic memories of those ancestors are calling out to us inside of our bodies. And epigenetic, if you know it's real, obviously, Dr. Bruce Lipton talked about epigenetics to his peers. He's a real doctor over 25 years ago, and his peers scoffed at him and almost ostracized him from the scientific community. Now, fast forward 25 years in the future, it's being taught in universities in biology that it's an actual real thing. Many tests and studies have been done now to the thousands of tests around the world in scientific studies in universities and laboratories. And epigenetics is a real thing. And we have 15 to 20 generations of our ancestors' memories in the epigenetics expressing themselves through our genes and our DNA and our RNA. It's passed down predominantly through the RNA on the father's side. But recently, in a new study just 2 years ago, they discovered that some epigenetics make it through the mother's line as well, which is pretty incredible. We're talking about the ability for us to tap into these ancestors right through our own genes, our gene expressions, and to be able to access them. So it's top of mind. So these genes are creating this ancient memory, if you will, this calling out from ancestors through ancient times, this memory, this remembrance that keeps living through us. And so we're more prone to want to venerate them and to look back to them and to call them out and to honor them because they're expressing themselves through us. It's almost like an automatic ingrained memory. And that's why, the other people, they may not have that deep rooted connection to those ancestors. And so, they're not expressing themselves, they're not expressing it through their gene codes or through their bodies as we are. And so it's a pretty interesting thing, a great question, obviously, but that's my take on it. That's what I believe. Indeed.
No, indeed. Let me ask you this, Billy, where do you think the majority of people, they're influenced by the collective consciousness of society? Obviously, you're outside of that. You tap into books, you meditate, whatever. Where do you think the majority of people go? What dimension do they go to when they leave this realm, who are tapped into the collective consciousness? What dimension are they going to?
Well, I think it's higher dimensions, and I think everyone's going or tapping into slightly different places. We know we live in the third dimension. According to Einstein's old theory, the fourth dimension is time, but time is not a dimension, and we know that time is malleable. Matter of fact, time doesn't even exist. Clocks exist. And so the theory of time being this arrow, which is what we use to navigate through the third dimension, is real. But the overall understanding now of time, understanding that it can bend, it can go backwards, it can go forwards, it can go sideways. We now know that the fourth dimension is actually a higher dimension, which we call Metatron's cube. Right, so we're going into a fourth dimensional hypercube or a tesseract. It's the same tesseract that existed in the movie Interstellar. He went into a tesseract.
Right.
Okay. So it's a higher dimension. So a lot of people will enter that dimension of Metatron's cube through a meditation, leaving the third dimension, tapping into higher dimensions. Now, even higher than that, like I said earlier in the show, we know that the universe, according to quantum physicists and theoretical physicists, is made up of at least 11 dimensions. Now, back in, I forget what year I came to New York when you had me flown out to New York to Brooklyn to do a live lecture in Brooklyn at St. Francis College. I forgot what year that was.
It was 2018, I think.
2018, okay, 2018. In that lecture, I talked about the human mind connecting to 11 dimensions. That was before the science even came out. My hypothesis on that was that there's 11 dimensions within the universe, Our mind, like a chakra system energetically, is connecting to these higher dimensions. And just a couple of years ago, the Brain Institute just came up with a scientific review that the human brain does connect to 11 dimensions. So you can go 4th, 5th, 6th, and all the way up. It depends on how well the person is becoming an ascended master. What level of Christ consciousness are they reaching? Are they tapping into the crystals? Are they getting to the higher realms? And it's a process for everyone, right? Everyone's on their own journey. There's 101 ways to enlightenment. And so everybody's on their own separate journey. Some people will tap into higher, some people will tap into lower dimensions, but it doesn't mean that the person that's on the 4th or 5th dimension is any better or worse than the person tapping into the 9th dimension, for example. Right. We're all grabbing pieces of the puzzle and collapsing it into our reality so that we can get a better understanding of what's going on here and how we can become a better person in a higher realm as well.
All right, so Billy, so they say when our ancestors, speaking of ancestors, they say when they leave this realm, they go to the celestial realm, and they say the celestial realm is inside of us. So we're thinking, when we think of the celestial realm, we're thinking of the heavens up in the sky, but then like, okay, they're going there, but that's all inside of us. So what I want to ask you is that when we're talking about the tinkering of DNA, and you talk about and Lil and Inky and all these characters and messing with our DNA, and we're also talking about the celestial realm, the heavens, being a representation of what's inside of us. Do you think the solution to fixing the problem that's wrong with our DNA or doing it is space travel? So when we see Elon Musk or anybody going to space, if they happen to make it far enough in space or whatever, if they happen to do something in there, we're feeling on the inside. Like if Elon went to planet, we might say, oh shit, I feel, what's that feeling right there? Because he just like, like remember Ant-Man went into the quantum realm and he went like inside. Like when you go in space, you go inside our body. So whenever somebody goes out there and does some shit, we feel it in here. So do you think the more they attempt to go out there and the more we're able to go out there and do things, the more that we could change things that's going on inside of us, Billy?
That's a good question. I think that the more we focus on only what's on the outside. I'm all for exploration because I'm an explorer.
Right.
So I'm all for that. But I'm saying the more that we focus only on the outside, I think the bigger the disconnection we get from the inside.
Okay.
And so I believe that before we can fix any problems on this planet with ourselves and with each other and create a golden age on this planet, I believe we have to get to a certain number of people on this planet that take a journey to inner space.
Okay.
Until we all take a journey to inner space and experience the universe within us.
Right.
And come to the zero point of actual love and harmony, and then be able to express that on the outside, that becomes a new consciousness virus that spreads throughout the world. Going out to planets and visiting other galaxies is going to be a piece of cake once we learn how to love one another. Once we take collaboration over competition, we stop this competition mindset that we have. All that's exterior. When we stop begging outside deities to come and save us, when we stop begging polytricksters to come and save us and fix our communities, when we really wake up and realize that we can go into the selfie mode on our phone and open it up and then snap a picture and look at that and realize that's the savior. When we get to that point and we take a journey to inner space to understand the love frequency and love ourselves, forgive ourselves, and then express that on the outside, that's going to be when we have the big change on the planet. And then traveling out into space and moons and planets and everything else out in the solar system, that's going to be a piece of cake. Because why? Because we come into a resonant harmony with each other.
Excellent. Amazing. So Billy, so this human avatar, what they say, millions of cells die every day. Is it millions or? Right. So
millions that die every day. Yes.
So, and they say our body is a miniature universe. And when we look at the world we live in, they say we live in a universe. So they say as above, so below. Is our death, and we're not thinking about the millions of cells that die within us every day, because this is just a natural part of who we are and what has to happen. Do you think, you talked earlier in the conversation, Billy, about a creator God, not the God that the creator of the universe, not the God that created this earth or whatever, but the creator of the universe. Do you think the same way, we're in control of the miniature universe, our body, and we pay no attention about the millions of cells dying every day. Is that the same with the creator of the universe, Billy? You think? Is our death as insignificant to the creator of the universe as our cells is to us, Billy?
I think that you have a good point here, because I really believe that a creator is going to create, and the creator that has created this realm of a multiverse is going to continue to create more and more and more, because an artist never stops.
Yeah.
And the fact that people believe that there's some sky daddy with a white robe on and a magic wand floating through the universe, coming back to grant them wishes like, I'm going to allow your football team is going to win this week, so you can win the weekly bet, whatever they call that thing. I don't even play that stuff. Oh, you're going to win this war. I'm going to grant this soldier. This soldier called my name and asked me to help him win this war. Let me fly back over to this little blue dot on the outskirts of the Milky Way galaxy and bing, grant his wish so he can win this war. It's not happening. You see, it's not happening. If you can imagine this as a creator of this whole realm, that you've now created this pond, this vast pond that's always ever expanding. And to start off the first part of the ripple of creation and development, and which really ends up being the program code, you take a pebble and you release it into this pond. When you release that pebble, the frequency or the ripples go out. And those ripples create realities that go out. Now you go on and you work on another pond. I really don't believe that there's any type of a God that's existing that's worried about my kid's tuition didn't get paid last week and he's going to get kicked out of the school, and now I need to make God my slave and make him, oh, it's always a him, come back over here and take care of this bill for me. I mean, come on. I think what we're missing here is that there's a creator. The evidence is in the science. I wrote a book about it. Fractal Holographic Universe, the Matrix Code Revealed. That's the book. And this book is about the Matrix Code. It's about the God fingerprint that's on everything. The proof that there's a creator. And for us to understand that, we're part of the fingerprint, and that the spark that created everything in the known universe is inside of every atom in our body, and that we ourselves have a certain level of power of manifestation. And it's up to us to realize that we were sent here to save ourselves. That is what the program is all about. Realizing that it's up to us, not up to an outside source. And a person, I think, gets to a higher level of consciousness when they begin to realize that the voice they've been hearing in their head the whole time, it mutates from this dark, bellowing God voice into their own voice. That they realize that they've been talking to their higher self in the higher dimension this whole time. And then they begin to realize that they have power to help create and collapse realities into existence. And the proof of this, Rich, is the fact that you have on clothes, you have on a headset, you have a microphone over there. Who made that stuff? Human beings. How'd they make it? Conscious thoughts. They thought about it first, and then from a multi-dimensional platform, they collapsed it into 2 dimensions by drawing it on a piece of paper and even putting it into a computer-assisted design program, which looks 3D, but is only 2D. From 2D, they collapse multi-dimensional concepts into 2 dimensions. And then from there, you hand it over to an engineer who creates or manifests it into the 3rd dimension. So collaboratively, human beings have the ability to co-create realities. If we didn't have that power, we'd be walking around butt naked with nothing here. But obviously, I'm sitting in a chair at an amazing desk with a microphone in front of technology, all manifested from 3rd dimensional, multi-dimensional thoughts collapsed into 2D and then brought back into 3D. So people are saying, I don't have the power to do this. Well, you're manifesting realities on a daily basis and you're not even aware of it. You're taking it for granted.
Indeed. Yo, Billy, I'm going to say before I ask the next question, you a bad dude, man. Whenever you say something, you pull up another book. You done pulled up like 3 different books. Be like, well, in the book I wrote here, then he got another book in the book I wrote here. Billy done pulled up, 3 different books in 1 hour, man. This is a bad dude right here, y'all. He got them all laid out on the table. Oh man, shout out to Billy. Make sure y'all get his books. He has some amazing books. Emerald tablets. What's the last one I bought? Quantum what's it called?
Fractal holographic universe.
Yeah.
We got the compendium of the Emerald tablets.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Epic of Humanity, which became #1 in encyclopedias on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we have the Financial Bible. Woke doesn't mean broke. 688-page financial Bible to teach you and your future generations financial literacy.
This dude, he's giving a master class on business without us even knowing, man. Oh man, beautiful. You gotta love it. You gotta love it because we are all we are all a business, a walking business with currency, an unlimited amount of currency that we give off every day via our attention and intention. So that's a whole nother topic that we got to learn about. But this man right here could teach us a lot, teach y'all a lot about business and finances. Billy, let me ask you this. So this realm that we exist in, let's say this is called the dream realm. This is the dream realm, right, Billy? And yeah, that's what they say. I've even heard you say you talked to some indigenous people in Australia, and they said we're in sleepy time.
We're in sleepy time. Well, the dream time. This is dream time.
Mm-hmm.
The Hopi say sleepy time. The indigenous or Aboriginal say dream time. Sometimes I cross the two over, but it's the same thing. This is an illusory place. We're not really in reality here.
We're not really in reality. Now, you mentioned your wife earlier when you had a near-death experience, and I mentioned my mother earlier when she had a near-death experience, not wanting to leave the dream realm because of individuals that exist in the dream world, which they say we have souls. So I'm in the dream world, I have a soul. Your wife is in the dream realm, she has a soul, and we're like, hey, we don't want to leave these individuals. But there's something also that's interesting that happens in this dream realm. We dream in the dream realm. So when we dream in the dream realm, I've dreamed in the dream realm, and I've dreamed about children in the dream realm. What I want to ask you is that the individuals that we meet, the dream world within the dream realm, do they have souls just like my mama, just like your wife, your mama, your children? The individuals we meet in the dream when we go to bed at night, are those soul beings that we meet and encounter just like we meet and encounter soul beings in this dream realm, Billy?
I think various different things happen. I think depending on the dream you're having, sometimes people get into an astral state without even realizing it and end up believing that they're in a dream when they're actually in a real place and meeting and interacting with real beings that have real souls or real energetic sentient beings. But then you also have situations where you get into a dream state, right? Where we know this because there's a new machine that was just developed that can scan your brain and replay your dream like a movie on a screen. And so some of this is like your brain running its own AI program, creating realities within realities, like the movie Inception. Okay, so we're going into dimensions of thought and thinking and dreaming, even though a lot of it is like a play running in our heads. So I think there's a combination of both things that can possibly be happening.
Wow, yeah, definitely amazing. We know, Billy, the Ankh is a similar life in ancient Kemet. What is the similar death in ancient Kemet?
Well, they really don't have a specific symbol of death, but what they have is this baptism scene, and they have this scene where you're going to have to answer for your sins. This is in the hieroglyphs at many, many temples, and it's where your heart must be lighter than a feather. And if your heart is lighter than a feather, you'll be allowed to transfer to a higher dimension, right? To the spiritual realm. If your heart is heavier than the feather, then you're going to be stuck in this cycle of brutal reincarnation. So it's an interesting concept that we see throughout Egypt or ancient Kemet, where you see these hieroglyphs that show that, and that really seems to be the symbol. A lot of the ancient texts in Egypt is really talking about love and light and higher dimensions and frequencies. Like the Egyptian Book of the Dead, that's not the real name of the book. You see how they twist things around? Yeah, you know the name. It's the Egyptian Book of Going Forth by Day. All of a sudden, it's the Egyptian Book of the Dead. So it's this wordplay, this word salad that they utilize to, when you hear that, if you're a Christian, a devout Christian, and you hear the Egyptian Book of the Dead, you don't even want to touch that book.
You're staying away from it, yeah.
You're running away from that book,
Yeah.
There's a lot of knowledge, and some of those proverbs come right out of the Egyptian Book of Going Forth by Day.
So Billy, so we talked about that it being misnamed the Egyptian Book of the Dead. So Billy, so if this, let's say this realm is the real death realm, and when we leave this realm, it's the real life realm. Just thinking about what happens in this realm when we think someone dies and we have a funeral and we, mourn or whatever. Is there any ancient text you travel the world where our ancestors talk about our spirits or our souls leaving the higher dimensions, coming into this realm, and them having a ceremony the same way we have a ceremony when we leave this realm in the higher dimensions? Do they have, is there any historical records of them having a ceremony when we leave that realm and go into this realm, whether they're crying or laughing or celebrating or whatever? Do they have any type of ceremony in that realm for us coming here?
Yeah, in the Emerald Tablets, Thoth gets to Shambhala. He gets there. There's the 7 lords are there. Family members that he knows are there. And he's in a conundrum because now he has a decision to make. They're joyful. They're happy to see him. They're telling him, again, you can stay here. You can relax. Your labors have been done. You're complete, right?
And he's still.
And then what does he say? He says, no, I'm going back to help mankind.
Shit. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Why are you getting emotional, Billy? Let me ask you.
It's a great mission, and it's really it's courageous, it's a courageous mission. When people are trying to look to sacrifice an eternity of peace or to sacrifice a great lifestyle, I live a good lifestyle. You've been around me, but I can be doing so many other things. I don't need to do this. I don't have to do this.
Right. Yeah.
Like I can be doing so many other things. I don't have to worry about trolls and haters, and I don't have to have higher security to go around with me because all the death threats and all these things, and travel to all these sites and, get pneumonia and almost dying. I don't have to do these things. And I think Thoth was saying the same thing, like, I'm here, man, but I'm not finished with the work I feel I had to do. I didn't finish. My mission is not complete, which is the same reason why I felt like I had to come back. It's like, there's a certain level of effect that I'm having on a percentage of the world every single day. And how do I know this? Because literally almost every person that comes up to me is telling me how I've affected their life in a positive way. And so when you hear that over and over again, and people telling you all the things that they've been able to get out of, the new life that they've been able to manifest, the drugs that they've been able to get off of, and abusive situations that they've been in, they've been able to escape those things. People that have gotten out of prison told me, man, because of listening to your stuff, I know that I'm never going back to prison. When you hear those things, it's like, wow, it makes it all worth it. And so Thoth, he traveled the world. He said he went to other planets and watched civilizations rise and fall. That's incredible. And then imagine the amount of lives he's interacted with just here on Earth as being Jehuti, as Thoth, as Mercury, as Odin, as Thothamabi in Australia, as Quetzalcoatl, Lord Pakal, Viracocha, Kukulkan, all the names he's had, Wang Di, the first emperor of China. I mean, you name it. You just keep going and going and going. The impact that this man has had all over the world, and the knowledge that he brought, the people that he's impacted, and the wisdom that was shared to help enlighten mankind, to help them achieve several different golden ages in different time periods. So I understand the mission is really to help people and to show people, man, like, hey, you might not agree with everything that I have to say. And guess what? That's okay. But at the end of the day, it's all about how can some of my information help you if you apply it? And how can some of your information help me if I apply it? It's understanding that every person brings a piece to the puzzle. We're all on a mission here. And if we put that puzzle together, we get a full picture. But if everybody hoards their piece and hides it, we're never going to get the picture. And I think that, the mission is just courageous. So it got me a little emotional, but I really think it's a powerful mission for a person to be in a place and knowing that the work could be complete forever. And to say, no, I'm going to go back and I'm going to finish what I started. I think that's incredible.
No, Billy, personal stories, as we wind this down, can be the most relatable. And sometimes they reach our heart chakra way faster than scientific stories can. Billy, you know, you've been through a lot in this realm, in this lifetime. You've done a lot. You've contributed a lot. And you've been tapped into this information for a long time. Is there any personal stories of maybe your loved ones reaching out to you that you felt like, wow, is that mom reaching out? Is that dad? Is that this person? Is that person? Is that Dolph? Is there anything that you felt in your life where you felt like somebody from the other realm? I'm not talking about your higher self, and maybe where your higher self and everybody else is the same, but you felt like an individual was trying to reach out to you in particular during your lifetime, and you could talk about that so that, you know, we can understand how this thing works, Billy.
There's two. And the first one would be my mother, who passed away. My mom, I'm like you, Rich. I lost my mom and my dad, you know. And so I lost my mom probably, I think, 14 years ago now.
Okay.
And I lost my mom to Lou Gehrig's disease, Alzheimer's, or not Alzheimer's, Lou Gehrig's, or ALS, what they call ALS, where your body just shuts down, all the muscles stop working, and eventually your diaphragm stops working, and you suffocate to death. Horrible way to die. Horrible way. I had to witness that. They put her on life support, then I had to be the one to make the decision for pulling the plug because I was the oldest.
Right.
My father, alcoholic, drug addict, he couldn't make any decisions. I had to be the one to do that. Eventually, I had to make the same decision to pull the plug on my dad after he died. After about a week on life support, and brain scans showed no brain activity. Again, two tough decisions you have to make in your life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
But my mom, you know, she's the one who told me to look into Machu Picchu in 1977. She's the one that told me advanced beings, she didn't say aliens, she said advanced beings visited this planet and built palaces on tops of mountains in ancient locations. And she's the one that told me and inspired me to look into this stuff, which is why I dedicated my first book, Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, to her, especially once I finally got a chance to go to some of the places, specifically Machu Picchu, where she told me to go in 1977. But her energy, to me, reaches out to me from time to time. You know, we're coming up actually on the anniversary of her death again right now. And it's had me a little bit out of sorts because, you know, it's just like, you know, you already know how it is. It's your mom. But every now and then when I'm out there accomplishing something or doing something or something that I've been working on, helping somebody or whatever, it works out. I just feel like this energy just comes to me like, you know, yes, son, that's it. Keep going, keep going. She gives me the strength to keep going. So I feel that energy from my mom, that divine feminine energy from her, just like I can hear the voice, I can hear it through a frequency, like, keep going, you're doing great.
Right.
And that kind of drives me, you know. The second one, really, believe it or not, is Thoth.
I didn't expect you to say that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have to understand, like, the words that were written are so powerful in the Emerald Tablets and in the Emerald Tablet. And people go, where are these tablets at? Well, the Emerald Tablet, singular, you know how these people are.
Yeah, I know.
It's located in Cambridge in the UK. So get yourself a passport and hop on an airplane. The Emerald Tablets, plural, was taken away by the Vatican, and it's in the Vatican archive in Rome. So, you know, if you can find a way to get down there and snatch it back out, we'd love if you can become an agent and get it out of there for us, that'd be great. But they exist, and the powerful words that are in them, they're so incredible that the more you read them, the more passive enlightenment that you gain. And the reason why I say Thoth is tapping to me from a higher dimension is because you have to understand something. What happens when you read a book? First of all, the person that writes the book, let's start there. The person that wrote the text, that comes from, again, a multi-dimensional platform, and it's collapsed into lines that connect and singular lines on a piece of paper. But what really is the information? The information is encoded higher dimensional knowledge.
Yeah, man.
What happens when you get it and you open it and you take a look at the page, a photon pings off of the encoded information from somebody else's multidimensional mind.
Yeah.
It goes up fully encoded, undecrypted. It's not decrypted yet until it gets to the eye and gets sent to the back of the brain. The brain decrypts it. It decrypts multidimensional information and processes it. And then you get a certain level of comprehension from that.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens when you open the book or the text and you begin to read it,
Right.
you're decoding multi-dimensional information from another being's mind. That information now is permanently encoded into your brain and consciousness. You can't separate it. You can't divide it. You can never take it away. You can never, I can never say, I'm going to erase the emerald tablets from my brain. It'll never happen. So what's happening is you've merged, right? You've merged minds with another being. And so that being now lives actually inside of you.
Okay.
That goes for any book. It could be a Dolores Cannon book. It can be a fairy tale book. It doesn't matter what book it is. It doesn't have to be the Emerald Tablets. You've now merged minds with another sentient being's consciousness through encoded data from a multidimensional platform. And through that method, I feel something special has happened where I get this encouragement. I get the power to go on. I understand, I comprehend the message, I comprehend the mission, and I continue to fight. So that's why the information is so powerful.
You feel as though your life has been different since you wrote that book? Would you say that?
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
without a doubt. Oh, without a doubt. There's been.
Mm-hmm.
I was already on a particular path.
Yeah.
Of what I would call my own path to enlightenment. Everybody has their own path and their own journey, and you get there at your own pace. It really accelerated significantly once I started getting into the tablets, and I talked about writing the book for 4.5 or 5, almost 5 years. It was just under 5 years. I talked about, I'm going to write a book about this because people don't understand what it's saying.
Yeah.
I got to the point where I said to myself, and I really thought it was Thoth saying to me, hey, you've been talking about doing a compendium of this knowledge, but you haven't done it yet. It wasn't my voice.
Right.
So I said, you know what? You're right. So I locked down everything for 15 days.
Wow. Yeah.
No phone, no computer, no nothing. Well, the computer was only on for the book, but no surfing and looking for things. The phone only turned on for one reason. That was to call Uber Eats to come bring me food.
Yeah.
That was it. And I dedicated myself to a chapter a day. And I created this book in 15 days.
Ooh, 15?
15 days. The raw version of the book was done. It had to be edited, of course.
Yeah, but
the book was complete in 15 days, 2 weeks. The book was done. And this book has been a bestseller on Amazon for just under 5 years.
Wow.
Beating out Graham Hancock on most days in ancient Egyptian history.
Yeah.
It's his book. So it's just been a phenomenal run. But the point of it is that this knowledge now is spreading like a wildfire.
Right.
And everyone's coming back and having so many enlightening understandings and visions and being able to achieve so many things in their life. Being able to finally see that mankind's birthright is the light, and that it's we don't lose anything by lighting our candle and sharing that light with another candle. We can light as many candles as we want, and the original flame never gets dim. So it takes on this whole understanding of collaboration and service to others versus hoarding and competition.
Right.
And that's what I love about it.
Wow, man, oh man, Billy. I didn't know we was going in this direction. Wow, amazing, Billy. I'm gonna tell you, what a show tonight, man. What a show, what an amazing show. I got one question before you get out of here, Billy. I gotta say, I truly appreciate every interview I've done with you. We talked about me bringing you to New York in 2018 since I met you, and that actually brings me to my last question. So, Billy, when we, we're talking about this realm and life after death and us coming back to this realm over and over again and going back to the other realm over and over again, a lot of times when we meet people in this realm, Billy, we feel like we've known them before. And, we kind of like we'll meet somebody and we'll just resonate with them and we'll get right to work immediately. Boom, 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 boom. Like you and your wife Elizabeth, y'all met each other. Next thing I know, forbidden knowledge just forbidden knowledge just started. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what the fuck happened? Well, how did forbidden knowledge just took off? Or you know what I'm saying? Or even like when I met you in 20, I think 18 or whatever, and we just started doing workshop after workshop after workshop. And when you meet people, you know, you vibe with them, you resonate with some people right away. What I want to ask you, Billy, is there a place in this world, you traveled so much, where the same way you've met certain individuals in this realm and you just like, okay, I resonate with this individual, whatever. Is there certain places where what place where you say you visited where you just resonated with it the most? Like, oh, I got to get busy. I know what I got to do here. Out of all the places you just talked about, Australia and Turkey and Egypt and so many places you've been to. What place the most in this realm, Billy, where your soul may have been here before and you like, I know what I got to do. I got to get busy. What place is that?
I'll tell you, man, I've been everywhere. Like you said, you know, Peru, Bolivia, Cambodia, the jungles of hiking through the jungles of Cambodia. I mean, of course, Egypt, parts of Africa, you know, the Middle East. I mean, I could just keep going, right? But I have to say the place that I resonate the most is still Egypt. Every time I go there, I see something new. I get to explore something new. I get to see a lot of things that nobody's ever seen before. When I say nobody, I'm talking about the general public. Of course, the officials have seen it, but I'm getting to see things that closed doors that have been closed for decades. One time I had a door open for me that was closed for 50 years.
Yikes.
They came and unlocked it for me and gave me the key to actually turn the lock. And it's on a video. Open this ancient temple, hidden crypts that were closed and sealed that were just discovered. I get a chance to go in them first sometimes. The access that I get is just incredible. And I go to Egypt, and the Egyptians, the government people, the actual archaeologists, the guides, they just love me. They flock to me. They want me to talk to them. They want my advice on information. They listen to all my stuff. It's like, it's mind-blowing. I get invitations to go see things and do things that nobody's going to ever do.
That's got to be karmic. That's got to be karmic, man.
I'm given this access.
Yeah.
People don't understand the kind of access. I was in the Serapeum, and there's a door that had been closed there for decades. It had only been open for workers, even when it was open. Nobody can go in there.
Yeah.
And Muhammad promised me he can get me in there. He had gotten everything. The government said, yes, for forbidden knowledge, you guys can do it. When we got there, the groundskeeper forgot the key. Muhammad made one phone call, and you know what the government said? Break the lock.
You serious?
Break the lock. Just make sure you buy another one.
Wow.
And we smashed the lock, and they let us in there. And I was blown away by what we saw in there. 1,000-ton diorite box that was cut with some advanced laser technology that was still radioactive. I mean, just stuff like that. It's just like, I've been given this carte blanche. I've been given this access. I'm getting to do things that people would only wish and dream that they can do. So I'm just resonating with that place because I've seen so many things that less than 1/10 of 1% of the world even know, and less than 1% of them will ever even get to see.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. And obviously there's some type of energy field around you that people sense that, you know, they're responding to, man.
It's crazy.
It's some amazing stuff, man. Like I said, man, just keep up the great work. I mean, amazing interview once again, man. I would, every time you come on here, man, I have an amazing time. We have a good time with this information and with this knowledge. And that's what's important, to have a good time, because it resonates with your soul more that way. Billy, before we get out of here tonight, tell the people, you know, you got a lot going on, Billy. If you got tours, you got workshops, you got lectures, I know you travel, whatever you got coming up, let the family know so that they can support you, my brother.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Well, we do have some workshops coming up. I'm doing some research masterclass. I'm doing a research masterclass, I think next weekend, actually.
Yep.
You want to be a part of my research masterclass? If you want to learn how to research like me, how do I go out and gather the information? How do I get my sources? How do I do the research? How do you begin to research the right way? I'm also doing a very special masterclass on the missing 2 tablets that were added to the Emerald tablets. That's coming up in a few weeks. In February, we have the Manifest Destiny workshop that we're going to do live out in LA with the Mother Earth Effect with Clint Ober and my wife, Elizabeth, from Grounding and Biohacking. It's going to be an amazing thing. In person, you can come meet us in person. Awesome. And if you don't have the app, make sure you get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app. We just got the app upgraded. It truly looks like Netflix now, and a combination of Netflix and Amazon Prime Video. So make sure you go on your app store. 100,000 downloads on Google Play and 100,000 downloads on Apple. 5-star app on both.
Billy talking shit. That's his nonchalant way of talking this shit. Man, shout out to Billy. Billy, my brother, thank you so much. Salute to you and everything you do. Shout out to the family. We got about 3,000 people in the chat. We're getting out of here. Make sure you go and support everything my brother Billy got going on. And Billy, I will talk to you soon, my brother. Thanks for everything.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
All right. Peace, brother. All right. Family, I will see you tomorrow with a surprise guest. It's going to be awesome tomorrow night. See all y'all tomorrow night. Peace.
This is Dr. B Serious, here to inform you that we're offering The Body Never Lies, Class 2, October 26th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This class is going to explore how to use personal kinesiology to help you refine and define your decisions and bring out the best in you. Learn the science of asking and the language of liberation. You see, language can be your liberator or your lockdown. How you ask a question and how you feel and how you vibrate and in the level of frequency that you are in or on has a lot to do with your outcomes. So what we're going to do is cut to the chase and give you the cheat codes on how to make the best choice for you. Personal kinesiology is the science of asking and receiving a definite yes or no to help you achieve your goals.